Well, there's no denying President Trump and Joe Biden have very different leadership styles compared to one another. Now, many Americans are wondering what they're in store for the next 4 years. Mark Rudolph has spent a lot of time thinking about that. He's a branding advisor to CEOs and the author of this book, Intra Branding, the Keystone of Corporate Agility. He joins us live now. Mark, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on. Talk to me about leadership, for example. If I understand this correctly, you say Trump is a leader, Biden would be a ruler. Explain that to me.
Right. Biden doesn't have a leadership style because he's not a leader. He has no followers. Rudolph's branding axiom: if they don't follow, your brand is hollow, non existent. When you get 10 people showing up at a rally, you have no followers. And he knows that he wasn't elected. He knows he was installed like software by the big tech, big biz, big bank, media, China swamp complex. He knows it, and he knows that we know it. There are two ways to know that Biden knows that we know he wasn't elected. One, he's always angry when he shows up in a microphone. Victors are happy. Watch Masters Golf, Wimbledon, Super Bowl. The winners are always happy, ebullient, ecstatic. Biden is always angry. The other one is we now have a massive suppression of conservatives in this country, and Biden has said nothing about it. So those are the two key points. He resents Trump because Trump has 75 million loyal, loving followers, and Biden doesn't have any of that. So Biden is a ruler by fiat, and that is how the next 4 years are going to roll out. And we all are seeing it before he even enters the Oval Office.
Inauguration just days away. President-elect Joe Biden's theme for his inauguration is America United. Yet a lot of Americans do not feel united, if anything but that at this point. Nevertheless, that is the theme for inauguration, America United. Mark Rudolph, your thoughts on that?
Well, Sean, you know that's a big farce. How can America be united when 75 million of them are being depersoned, deplatformed? It's insane. And, just this morning, Deutsche Bank announced that it's not going to do business with Trump anymore. This is just cascading out of control. United? We're not united. We're being torn apart, and Biden is okay with it because he wants to put people under his thumb, and that's it. And again, don't forget, Kamala Harris had to drop out before the first primary because nobody likes her. So you have two people in office nobody likes, and they got more votes than Obama. So again, when you're angry, you can't lead because you don't have any followers and you don't have any mandate. So he's being controlled by the swamp and by China and by big business and big banks and all of that. And that's what's going to happen. So united, we have 75 million people who are pissed and who are being ignored and depersoned. That is not united. We've gone from freedom of the press to freedom to suppress. And every time a dictator takes power, all over history, which they don't teach in school anymore, the same thing happens. You lose freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom of the press, freedom to be armed, and freedom to have private health care. Dictators always take over all of that. And that's what's happening. So, no, united, not.
Last question for you is this. Some have been trying to blame President Trump for inciting the violence. Obviously, the article of impeachment is being brought upon him on Wednesday in the House. But have you ever witnessed a Trump rally creating violence, unlike the summer BLM riots, Antifa riots that you've seen across our great cities in this country? Have you seen these incited or condoned by the left? It seems to be a double standard at this point. What are your thoughts?
Double standard doesn't even begin to cut it. What happened at the Capitol was a setup. You saw videos of police removing barriers, allowing the protesters in. The Democrats are famous for never letting a crisis go to waste, even if they create the crisis. They needed something to hang on Trump, which they succeeded at doing. They needed a way to derail the decertification of Biden's election. They succeeded. Trump was still speaking. You showed the timeline earlier when the intruders were already breaching the Capitol. So it was all planned. And the outgoing chief of police of the Capitol said he tried to get the National Guard from the House and the Senate. And they both said, no. They delayed they denied it, and so they wanted it to happen. Meanwhile, last summer, they torched Seattle, Portland, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Oakland, Baltimore, and the Democrats were fine with it. In fact, during the DNC convention, Biden never even mentioned the violence. He was okay with it. So violence that works for them, they're fine with. Violence that they can hang on Trump, they zero right in on it, and they're using it as an excuse to impeach him again. And it was all planned. The Republicans are never wise to what the Democrats are up to. Never. They're always surprised. They're always shocked.
All right.
And it's getting a little tiresome.
I'm out of time. Mark Rudolph, thanks so much for joining us live, sharing your thoughts and your opinions here on this broadcast. MarkRudolph.com for more information from Mark. Thank you so much.
You bet, John.